A recent Rasmussen report held that 17% of Americans would vote to secede and form a new state, and 13% are unsure. Last year, the White House received over 675,000 secession petitions from all 50 states. And over the last 2 decades, maybe longer if you haven't been living under a rock in California, you'll know of the NorCal-SoCal rivalry. Well, on Monday, Modoc County voted unanimously to second an effort with Secede County to break up one of the biggest states in the Union. So if you're new to AMTV, you'll very soon understand we're huge fans of secession here. We've covered the separatist movements worldwide from Texas to Venice. Separating oneself and one's community from others is not radical, and it's not about being a redneck, but something which has been occurring since the dawn of time. In fact, secession, the act of withdrawing formally from membership of a federation or body, is the most peaceful incarnation of separation. Unfortunately, in the United States, because of the Civil War and its connection to slavery, secession has become a very dirty word a long time ago. And liberals have never let us forget it. But politicians like Ron Paul and others have noticed secession is a very deeply held American principle, based ultimately in the freedom to associate and popular sovereignty. Modoc County Board of Supervisors Chairman Jerry Byrne, after unanimously voting for a measure to join the push to form a new state, agrees, telling Reading.com, quote, "This is going to have to be something the people bring forward. It's going to have to be from the bottom up, not from the top down." Recently, AMTV covered the potential secession and creation of North Colorado through the secession of counties from 4 different states. Now counties of Northern California are revisiting an old idea, not seriously talked about since 1941. In October of that year, the mayor of Port Orford, Oregon, Gilbert Gable, announced that the Oregon counties of Curry, Josephine, Jackson, and Klamath should join with the California counties of Del Norte, Siskiyou, and Modoc to form a new state later named Jefferson. And today, members of those counties are picking up where Gilbert Gable left off over 60 years ago and hope to secede from the behemoth Golden State and create this state of Jefferson. Mark Baird, a spokesman for the Jefferson Declaration Committee, said the group hopes to have a dozen counties commit their support before asking California legislators to allow for the formation of the new state. Unfortunately, like in Colorado, California holds a supermajority of Democrats, unlikely to create what would be a super red state. But as I've mentioned before, secession is more about local government and increasing democracy than it is about merely saying we want a divorce because of too much regulation, onerous laws, and environmental fascism. And ultimately, does your vote really matter when you compete with 37 million other voters? According to Baird, California is essentially ungovernable in its present size. We lack the representation, he says, to address the problems that affect the North State. And if he gets his wish, the state of Jefferson will carve out of the largest economy in the United States a state economy 15% larger than New Mexico. In the final analysis, what is wrong with being small? Some would say small is beautiful and, most importantly, nonpartisan. In his magnum opus, Breakdown of Nations, Leopold Kohr, an Austrian economist, noted, "Let us solve the great problem of our time, the disease of excessive size and uncontrollable proportions, by going back to the alternative to both right and left. That is, to a small-scale social environment with all of its potential for global pluralistic cooperation and largely unaffiliated self-sufficiency, by extending not centralized control, by emphasizing local, centered, and nourished communities, each with its own institutional nucleus and limited but strong and independent gravitational field."